My goodness. I clearly need better routines. I've been switching everything up at the beginning of this year to get back into a more active fitness routine, and it has wreaked havoc on my ability to get anywhere by 9 a.m. Let me fix this, make sure that we're in the right spot here. That should be like there somewhere. Yeah, that seems good. Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Got a coffee. We're ready to function today. How is everyone? I was late, so let me put up a note for anybody who maybe thought that I wasn't going to go live today. That would be, where's the link? Here. Here. Here we go. And then we'll toss one of them into the content feed on the Discord. Here we go. All right, everybody. How are y'all doing? It's good to see you. Thank you for hanging out, Michael, Alistair, Mohammed, Trevor. What's up, y'all? Thank you all for being here. Yeah. So, how was everybody's long weekend? What did y'all do? What have you been up to? To be completely honest, I was working. I have a big production coming up on Thursday and Friday, and I've just been prepping for that. I have a whole bunch of stuff to do. Bunch of lessons that I'm learning also about what I need to do differently next time to not make this so dang stressful. What's up, Oru? What's up, Kent? Yeah, so here's where things stand, right? Like, I've been working on a new show. You may have caught the first episode. It's called Leet Heat, and the second episode actually launched this morning, so I can drop a link to that using my new that should do it. So that should be the short link to get to the new episode of the show, which I'm going to double check that I got that right. Wait, did I or did I not? What was that? Yeah, there it goes. Okay. So that's the new episode. Episode 2, show's called Leet Heat. I'm really excited about this show. It's been a kind of a labor of love, something I've been working on for a really long time, and something that we're learning a lot about. I've never made a game show before. I've never worked with a crew the size of the one we're working with. The level of coordination is pretty high. The first episode and second episode were recorded in the same day, actually, and this next batch we're going to record 10 episodes across 2 days. And so we got a lot of really good feedback on that first episode. Couldn't implement a lot of it in episode 2 because it had already been filmed, but we can implement all of it in episodes 3 through 12 of Leet Heat, which we'll be filming Thursday, Friday. And so my last couple of weeks has just been completely consumed with, like, got to come up with questions, got to make sure that the format makes sense, got to make sure that the crew is lined up, that the set is built, that all the things that we want done are done and ready. So it's been a lot. It's been very busy. And on top of that, I got to get this game software done, which is not done yet, but we're close. We are actually close, and my hope was today that we would go in and finish that. So, what's up, Polaroid? What's up, Aiden? How you doing? So, here's what I want to do. I want to let me share my screen, and we're gonna get into this one. And then I'm gonna share and get into the actual view that I like, this one. Okay, so this is the new episode of Lead Heat, and I would very much appreciate it if y'all went and watched that and shared it and commented and told your friends and all those good things. What's up, WebNeat? How you doing? This one was super fun. I also got to make some really fun thumbnails for it. Let me find. Let's see. That's the Web Dev Challenge one. Where's the Lead Heat one? This is how I do thumbnails. Is I get them into Figma. This one makes me really happy, and I hope that this one wins the split test that I'm doing right now. I have a feeling it's going to be this one, because I think that it gives more of a hint of like what is happening on the show, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I think this one is charming, and I think that people should want to watch that because it's really fun, but we'll see. We'll see. What's your favorite? Okay, let's stop worrying about that, and instead let's worry about this show. So we got to make the. We don't want to look at those yet. That's not what we're after. So instead, let's open up Lead Heat. And what I'm going to do is npm run dev here. And then we're going to open up another terminal, and we will npx convex dev. And assuming I did all of that right, which I think I did, then we can walk through the code a little bit. So let's talk about what this is doing. I'm going to do a quick recap. I've gone through this more in depth in other streams, so I won't spend a ton of time on it. But what we have is a state machine that is built using xstate. Let's see, I'm not using any of that, so we can get rid of that. And we're using the state machine to manage the actual like actions in the game, what happens and all those good things. And then we're using convex to persist that so that we can have the game played. If I refresh the page or something like that, we want to be able to do those sorts of things. And then so basically what I'm doing is I want the producer to be running the state machine, and whenever the producer makes a change, I want that updated context to be sent into convex, and then I want the other screens, because we have, on the show, we have Mark is holding like a tablet that has the current question and whose turn it is and what the right answer is, stuff like that, so that he's kind of at a glance knows what's going on. Behind Mark is a big display that has the current question on it, and then each of the podiums has a display on it that has the current contestant's name, score, and spice level. And I need to be able to update all of those screens from one central source of truth. And so to do that, I am using a combination of state machines to make sure that the data is correct and that we move through the game the way that I want to move through the game. And then I also use convex so that when I update the database, we get a real-time update without having to do anything special on the screens that are subscribed to that state machine. Shooting more episodes this week? Yes, trying to shoot 10 episodes across Thursday and Friday. So I got a bunch of people showing up tomorrow, and then more people showing up on Thursday. It's going to be a party. A lot of people that I know and love, a lot of people that I haven't met yet. It's some people that y'all might recognize from the chat here. It's going to be a really good time. I think it's going to be fun. I'm very excited. I've been working on my questions. I think my questions are good, but oh my God, has that been like 80% of the prep time on this show has been me writing questions. That is so much work. I will absolutely, for the next season or for the next batch that we shoot, I am 100% hiring, like I'm going to have a contract available for people who want to write questions because it took so much time, and I just don't have time to do it. So, yeah, what's up, Carabo? Thank you for hanging out. Good to see you. Amit, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Okay, so let's walk through very, very quickly what this state machine does. So the way that it works is that you feed in the context and the events that you want. I have all of this stuff that's happening in here. There's actions that set the categories and things. That part isn't super interesting just yet. Same with the guards and the actors. So we can kind of we'll look through each of those as we come in. But so the way it works is you have the context, and that's kind of the details we need about the show. So we've got the current round, we've got the current question, current category, and then we keep a record of what the categories are, what the questions are, and who the contestants are. And that brings us to our state, which is ready to begin. And then once we begin the game, we load the game context, which fires off the begin game action. And loading the game context, we invoke this loading game context, and then when that's done, we go to the save game context, right? So you can kind of see what's happening here. Like we have a state, and then when you do a thing, you go to the next state, and then when you get into that state, you either immediately do something. So in my case, we're saving, and then we go to spinning wheel. And then when we spin the wheel, this actually isn't working, and we're going to change that. This is part of what I have to do today. But then once you get into a state, if it has this on, you have actions that you can fire. So on spinning the wheel and landing on lead heat, we want to do this. And on spinning the wheel and landing on a category, we want to do this. So this is kind of how we track the actual steps of the game and sort of what happens in it. And the really cool thing about this is that if I copy this entire thing and I go out to Stately, and we'll just create a new machine here, I think. We'll just copy one of these ones that I've already. So let me import, drop in all of this. We're going to import our state machine. And so then what ends up happening here is we end up, if I can, it's probably easier for me to just use the touchpad. But we got a couple cool things here going on, so I don't know why this is all over the place, but you end up, you've got you're ready to begin, and then you begin the game, you load the context, you invoke the loading the context, you save, same thing. When you're done, you go to spinning the wheel, and then once you spin the wheel, you then have things that you can do, so you can land on a category. And if you land on elite heat, then we take the contestant to the elite heat spicy bite, then they choose a category, then the host announces the category. If you land on a category, we just set the category, and then the host announces the category. So this is sort of how we go through the logic of the game. And if we actually run this, which it is running, then I can localhost, and that should work. So we end up here. And in fact, we need to get into episode 3. So for me, what I'll see on my screen is this, and I'm going to begin the game, and then that gets us into what's available. So we have somebody click the search field, and then on my screen and on Mark's screen, we're going to see like a note, like a show note on what we need to do. And then once we've done that, we begin the round. And then this would be the actual question. I have placeholder stuff in here so we can go fast, and also so I don't spoil any of the fun. And this is what the question is. This is what the answer is. So for me and Mark, we want to see these. And then for me, I have control over, like, if somebody buzzes in, I can say that they buzzed in, and then they have 5 seconds to answer. If they are correct, then they get points. You can see that happening here. And if they are incorrect, which we can show here, then they lose points and the spice level goes up, right? So now that I've gotten it wrong, it says it's spicy bite time for me, and then I continue. And now we've got Marissa has a chance to get it right, but let's say she doesn't, so time is up. No one got the answer, and then you got to read out the answer, continue, and that's the end of the category, right? So, fairly straightforward in terms of how this is all going to function. And so the thing that's missing is that what I need is, let me, no, that's not right. I need to do it over here. Split, add a split view. And this one is going to go to localhost. And this one will use season 1, and I want the screen. So here's where things are currently broken. You can see that this is pulling the wrong thing, like it's not updated. And sometimes weird, it like froze up on me. Okay, so here we go. We're in the save game context, and that all kind of did what I want. So then I hit accessibility, and see, this is where we're just like out of sync, and that isn't what I want. I want this to be in sync, and so I need to fix this. And so the way that I did it is just incorrect. So we're going to do a different thing. We're going to refactor that out and get it running. But before I do that, let's see. We got a couple more questions. You want to do some questions? Like legit, I would absolutely take you up on that. I have. I'm making some assumptions here. This second episode is performing a little lower than I want it to, so we're going to see if it picks up later in the day. It's only been live for like 3 hours, so it's way too early to know for sure what's going on. But assuming it does well, and assuming we end up doing more episodes, I will definitely there will be budget to hire contractors to help me write questions, because I am drowning under it right now. What's up, Robert? How you doing? Mohammed, you got a question? Let's see. Looks so good. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Let's say I want to provide users UI like Stately to create flows. Is there a library to do all this, or maybe some Stately integrations? What a great question. I don't know how things like this work. Like I know that, for example, there's TL Draw, which has the ability to do those kinds of flows and stuff like that. There are like, I mean, the easiest thing to do would be if you make it into a state machine, then it works in Stately, and you can kind of pull that visualization wherever you want. But it very much is kind of like you got to do it the Stately way to do it that way. But that's a great. I don't know what the right way to do that is, to be completely honest. There are some tools, but I'm not sure what they are. What's up, Wesley Coder? Yeah, I've never used React Flow, so I don't know what that is. So let's dig into this, and let's look at the way that I thought I could solve it, and why it doesn't work. So first and foremost, let's get into our actors. So what an actor is in a state machine, and I'm going to hand wave this because I will be completely honest, I get it, but not well enough where I think I can explain it correctly. So I'm going to explain what it does and maybe not exactly what it is. But so what an actor lets me do is take something like a fetch call, or in my case, a convex mutation, which this is their API, which wraps a fetch call. And it lets me put something into the state machine that's async, and then I can wait on that thing to be done and make choices based on what the outcome is. So the way that this is working in this case is we have, in this particular instance, when we load the game context, we have an async function called load game context, which is pulling, I think right now it's pulling it from a hard-coded function, but the intention is that we'll pull it from my convex database. And so we want to wait for that to get done. And how that works when we get into loading game context is we invoke load game context, and then we set on done. So when the promise resolves, then we're going to assign the context, which assign is used to update the context. And I'm just going to take the entire output of that event, and replace the entire context with it. And that's maybe not like, I don't know if that's like the quote unquote correct way to do things, but it solves my purposes and I like it. Then we go to save game context, and we're doing a sort of similar thing where we invoke save game context, and the input here is that we get the persisted snapshot of the state machine, which is how you, like if you want to create a state machine that is already initialized at a certain state, you use a persisted snapshot to do that. So what I'm doing is basically giving Convex the version of the state machine that if we wanted to, we could load a game midway or something like if you wanted to pause and continue a game a day or two later, that would theoretically work using this approach. And then when we're done, when that save is finished, then we go to spinning wheel. Now here's where things I think are broken. I then thought, well, what if I just invoke this, but then I don't call anything when it's done or whatever, and I just have it run this in the background? And my thought was, I don't really need, like, the game isn't dependent on this completing, but I want it to be happening in the background. So I thought I could just throw this invoke call everywhere, and it would solve my my problem. And as you can see, I put a bunch of these in here, and they definitely don't work. So we're going to get rid of those. So instead, what I want to do is I want to figure out how to get this machine, which we're like creating, and you know, most of it's doing what I want, but the thing that I need is I need to, let's get rid of some of the console logging. We don't need a lot of that. So what I need to do is I need to figure out how to like listen for changes on this machine and make changes whenever that happens. And so the thing I think I can do, so we get our use actor. Does this give us back? What is returned by one of these? Snapshot, actor send, and then just the actor. So if I also then get the actor, then what I think can happen is I can do a use effect, and we will hook it up to the actor. And then I want to try actor.subscribe, and that should give us the snapshot. And honestly, that might be enough to get us started to make sure that it's doing what I want. And what does this return? Does this return like a unsubscribe thing? You just do a, okay. Or wait, hold on. Const subscription, okay. So we just want to make sure that we're also returning a way to unsubscribe from this, so that we don't like stack a bunch of these and do something weird. So whenever this mounts, what we should see is that this will log whatever changed in the game. So we can close this for now and go into our console. And if I am correct, you know what I need to do actually, because I don't know exactly what we're. Let's have it do that so that I know what's going on. We'll try that one more time. I begin the game. Okay, so here's our subscription, And every time that something changes, we're getting an update here. And what I want to be able to do is, what changed? Status active, value spinning wheel. Like what do you think the difference is between these? Or is there a difference? Save game context, spinning wheel. Okay, so this is just it moving through each of the things. And so I would say what we probably need to do, right, is then just set some points in here where we want to get the snapshot. And is this a snapshot? Machine snapshot base. I can get a persistent snapshot from there. Okay, so this is what oh no. Argument for snapshot was not provided. What do you expect it to be? Snapshot of the current state. Like that. Let's try that again and see what happens. Okay, so here's our persistent snapshot. Okay. Are we baldy beardy bros? Okay, so this seems like it's gonna work. So what I should then be able to do is let's have this run whenever this happens, and we're just gonna drop in this value. So we'll get persisted snapshot, and then we're going to create or replace, and that is going to take the persistent snapshot, I think. Or wait, how does this work? Expected one argument, got 0, and it should, this will yell at me if it's the wrong thing. And it is yelling because snapshot, and that's going to be a snapshot of a game. Snapshot unknown is not assignable to type. So now you are a snapshot of a game. Argument of type status output error is missing the following properties. Is it though? How did I do this in the other one? Input is a snapshot game. Oh, and I just like cheated. Yeah, I hate that though. Why doesn't that work? What is it actually not like? Missing the following properties. Is there not a way? Persistent snapshot. Can I do one of these and get it to cooperate? No, it doesn't like that. Doesn't want any of those. Well, why doesn't that give me what I want? Snapshot unknown. Dang. Does anybody know how TypeScript works? Please. Whatever. This should solve the problem, and I think this is a promise. Yes, so we will await this, which means that this needs to be async. Is it going to let me get away with that? It is. And that should mean I mean, when we get into this kind of when we get into this kind of TypeScript, I get so lost. Or this is actually going to be more of it's the operation result, not the response. So then let's console log, whoops, the result. And this should also, in theory, definitely in theory here, should mean that when we open up our split window, we're going to get details coming back through. So category SQL, begin round. Now the host is reading the question. Okay, look at us go. Yes. Okay. No, this is great. This is exactly what I wanted. So now what we can do is we can category complete, spinning the wheel. Now we're on accessibility. Let's go to elite heat. Okay. So this is now what I want. If persisted snapshot is returning a value with type unknown. Well, that was what I thought I was fixing, right? Because when I do an as snapshot game, then this becomes snapshot of a game. But then for some reason, Convex doesn't like that. And that's the part that I'm not 100% sure what it's doing. Because it's, yeah, slug categories, all that stuff is in here. Not assignable to... I think this might be one of those things where, because I'm using a convex schema, which is being more explicit, it won't... Is this one of those... feels like one of those things where, like, satisfied is the thing. So that ends up here, and then you got your create or replace. And so what this is doing is we've got our context, or our arguments are the game. And the thing about the game is that the game has to be installed or set up like this. That doesn't work, does it? Can I just get the game out of the types? No, of course not. Like, that's not going to work, right? Right, because it says is missing the following properties, but then it doesn't show me what the dang properties are. Tags, values, status, context, slug. But it's, see, this is where I wish it would like slug, categories, questions, contestants, but it's not. And that's kind of the issue, right? Is that you end up, this game context has all that, slug, categories, questions, contestants. So that would actually explain a lot of what I just did wrong. And now you're saying does not satisfy the expected type. All right, AI, what do you know? Nope. Yeah. I think I'm just gonna have to hack it because I don't know what to expect here, but I feel like maybe if I was better at TypeScript, I could fix that, but I'm not, so I'm just gonna not stress about it because I know what it is and I know that it's working, and so I'm just gonna leave it be. Should be able to do something like get persistent snapshot as doc your schema name. All right, let's try it. Let's see if we can make that work. So we're gonna get, and that one comes out of convex and then context. Convert the expression to unknown first. Sufficiently overlaps with the other. See, this is the whole. Can I just get you to shut up? But then this doesn't feel any better than the any, right? Because it basically as far as I can tell, the problem is that xstate is doing a lot of like inherited and composed types, and convex is doing a lot of inherited and composed types, and something in the way that they're doing them doesn't line up, and that's causing the issue. So it's, I mean, it's fine, I guess. I don't care. It gets me what I want, and I guess this gets me away from an any. So there's a way to actually get xstate and convex types to do you think it would satisfies doc context? And it doesn't, and the reason is somewhere in here, but these error messages are so freaking hard to like put together. Like, can you snap? You can't stack them like this, right? That would be too much. You can't run it like that. Yeah, I'm not sure what the solution is, but this is not the right place to spend my time, I don't think, because I know that the data is correct. I just don't know what the, like, it doesn't seem, TypeScript golf isn't interesting to me, to put that as bluntly as I can. So instead, let's go over to this screen, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna start putting together what this actually looks like. And so this is going to be what's going to be actually on the screen. So let's get our like details dumped at the bottom in a way that's a little more friendly here. And the way we're going to do that is let's just kind of making a mess of this, aren't I? Okay, here's what I want to do. I want to declare bankruptcy. So this and then these are going to be value in the thing. And so I want to just drop all of this out, and we're going to instead do a main. Then we're going to drop in this footer, and we're going to have the value show up top right now. Something went wrong, state is not defined. And that is because we didn't this one I think we can just do the whole snapshot. So now we have like a full debug dump if we need it. So we can come down and kind of look at what's going on in here, but it doesn't blow out our whole UI, which makes life a little bit easier for us. So then we can start to kind of clean this all up. So let's add, this is just what's on the wheel, right? And so most of these, or this is just what's on the main screen. So most of these values we're actually going to have return the logo. And the logo is currently living in, I think I have it in Cloudinary. As unknown as whatever. Can you stack like that? Okay, maybe that's... Can you... No, you know what? I'm not going down this rabbit hole. I will deal with it later. I need the logic to work. That's far more important. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I agree. The fighting the tooling is definitely tricky, and it's hard when like what I really want to be able to do is feed a Zod type to Convex, and I know that's on their roadmap. I think that's kind of one of my big pain points with them too, is that I feel like I'm defining things twice if I want to use it anywhere outside of Convex, and that's like we're already using Zod, and Zod is close enough to Convex, right? They can always put up warnings about like, hey, you can't like enforce an email type on a database, which is fine. That's not the point. The point is that I want to be able to write my code. So, allow me to... How do I want to do this? So where do we need something to be on the screen? First and foremost, let's get that logo. So somewhere in here is my Elite Heat folder. And we'll take this. So we'll do one of these. And inside of that, we're going to do an image with a source like this. And we'll set this one to be like F auto, Q auto, and width probably, I don't know, we'll say 500. And then we need some alt text, and that alt text is going to say Elite Heat. Probably don't actually need alt text because this is like, it's on a TV. No one would use it. I don't think anybody would ever end up on this screen, but it's a good habit, and it costs very little to do it that way. So then let's get back out here. And what I want to do then is I want to get what? I want to get, you know what I think I need to do? I think I need to just do let's just move this out and make it its own thing, because I'm gonna have to use it a couple times, I think, and this will make my life easier. I can style it and change it and do all the things that I want. Spell it right. Okay, so if there's no snapshot, good. Then what I think I want to do is switch on the value, because there's going to be a lot of these that are the same. So for example, on spinning wheel and on, whoa, what did I just do? That's not the button I meant to push. Hello? What's my, there we go. When we're spinning the wheel, when we are loading, how do I get this to be one of my, that's not the thing I want. I want the actual list of events from the game, which is called events, which we will then import. That was lib and state and game. Didn't I import that as a type? You know what? Is this really... Because this should be my list of things. Do I have events coming from somewhere else? No, that's the only place. But it needs to, oh wait, it needs to be like one of. Thanks. That's Mark just running his mouth out there, making it have some Dune references added in the edit. Nice. Curious is the options for this game that wouldn't be state machine powered. When it's not a state machine, does that just mean that objects are more loosely connected? So the depending on how you want to like bucket information, effectively everything that you're building is kind of a state machine, and some of them just don't work very well. So the idea of a state machine is a strongly structured decision tree. So if you think about how you would do this with like if statements, for example, you would do something like, we've got our game, and then when the game starts, you would say if the button that got clicked is this one, then do this. If the button that got clicked was that one, then do this. And that's fine, but the challenge becomes then you have to be really diligent about building the right guards so that if somebody, for example, has, if somebody is in the incorrect thing, but they somehow send the event for give me points, they wouldn't somehow be able to do that, right? And so the way that a state machine works is that you define what are the valid states for the game, and the game can only become those things. It can, the classic example is a stoplight. So when a stoplight is red, it has three states. It can be red, yellow, or green, right? That's it. Or I guess it could be off, but we'll say it's always on. So red, yellow, or green, those are the three states. So when you are in green, the only place that it should be able to go is yellow, because if it goes from green to red, then you don't have the transition, and and I'm making assumptions that this is how stoplights work everywhere, but the green to yellow is what allows people to know, like, the light is changing. If you haven't already started crossing, you need to slow down and stop. Whereas if it just slammed to red and the other one slammed to green, we'd probably end up with accidents. And likewise, if it's red, then in the United States, when it changes over, it changes to green. And if you didn't have clearly defined states, you could end up in a situation where it could somehow go from red to yellow, and that would potentially cause confusion, and a stop sign or a stoplight is a very easy example. And so sometimes it can seem like, well, that seems like a lot of work just for something like that. But as you start to get more complicated, in my case, we're in a round. Inside of a round, we need to be inside of a category. Inside of a category, we need to be inside of a question. That question can be answered. It can be waiting for a contestant to answer. It can be incorrectly answered, and we have to read the questions. And making sure that when we get into a given state, we've clearly defined the only ways to get out of it. When a question is selected, there are only three ways out of it. You can have a contestant answer. Well, actually, I guess there's only two ways out of it. You can have a contestant answer, or the timer can run out and that question wasn't answered. Then, once a contestant answers, there are three ways out of that. They can be correct, they can be incorrect, or they can run out of time, which basically counts as incorrect. But by defining those states clearly, then you don't end up in a situation where your program is trying to transition from the question is on the screen to choosing a new category, which you would write code manually to solve that problem. But if you're using a state machine, it's physically not possible for the way that the program is built to transition between those states. It would just tell you no. So that's kind of the idea. That's why you do those. So strongly structured state machine means that events are well defined and restricted to your decision tree. Do you model this before writing code? I like to model this before writing code. I'll show you what my thought process was on this, because it was this was tough. I started in FigJam, and this was how I started modeling the game. So I came in here and I said, all right, we got the game start. And then I started thinking through like, what data do I need to track? And this isn't exactly what ended up in the final machine. It evolved as I started like actually modeling it. Let me see if I can make it like read only and just anyone can view. Yeah, here you go. So if anybody wants to look, this, no, it didn't actually work. I got to copy the link. So that's the Figma, or the Fig Jam, that I used to like plan. And then once I felt like I understood what the game was doing, then after that, I felt like I could start modeling it in code. And now, then I went over to Stately. And so when I was in Stately, I used, I don't know which one of these is the one that I like actually use, because I've copy pasted this a couple times to show it. I think it was this one. But so I came in here and I started modeling out the same thing, the same flow. And can I make this one read only? So the first one that I used is this is Figma, and it's more specifically the Fig Jam, which when you go to create something, they have the options. I did a Fig Jam board, and that's kind of like a wireframing tool if you ever use something like Miro or similar. And then in Stately, I came in and I started building it out, and like the way that this works is if you've got your machine, and so you would call it like my app, and then you just start adding stuff. So you say, all right, this is the like homepage, all right, and then from the homepage they can do stuff. So you can click start now, and then that takes you to a sign up page or whatever it is, right? And like each of these things then starts to have a pretty significant, like, you can do a thing or you cannot do a thing. And then the nice thing about this is it starts to make you think really clearly about how somebody gets from point A to point B. And like if you're building a dashboard, or if you're building a checkout flow, or you're building a sign up flow, thinking through how somebody gets from point A to point B and having to model these things out is really, really useful, because what I've found is that I tend to gloss over the intermediate pages. And so in my head, I'm like, yeah, you have a call to action, and then you have a sign up, and then you have your dashboard. And what I forget is that you hit the call to action, and then the call to action typically has like, there's the form itself, which has a bunch of interaction stuff that's worth thinking about. What happens when somebody makes a mistake? What happens if they, is it like a multi-page form? What does the confirmation page look like? What does the check your email to confirm, click the link to confirm that your email is yours page look like? How do all those flows and all those things work so that you can actually like really understand what's happening? And that to me has been one of the goals or one of the big values, I think, of thinking through in this flow chart kind of, like, you don't necessarily have to use a state machine, but a flow chart, whether it's something like FigJam, where we've, something like FigJam where you're kind of modeling how all this stuff works, something like Stately where you're more explicitly modeling. And the nice thing about something like Stately is that as you're doing it, it's building your state machine for you, and you're able to very quickly like copy this and have functioning code on your site. Or you can write it by hand. I've been, as an exercise, I've been like rewriting the state machine, and I've been rewriting it by hand to try to like get my head around it a little bit better, and thinking through like how I would do each of the things and how I would want stuff to move. And that's been really helpful, just in a like, how do I get my head around all this stuff sort of thing. Okay, So I have a bunch of do these then oh, see, now this doesn't work because what it needs to be is not type of events, but it's like a use array as union type script. Members of fruits, okay. No. Members of fruits. Where were members, though? Key. Members of fruits. Oh, that's the question, not the actual thing. Type of fruits number. Somebody already know this and told me. Yeah, you were already telling me. All I had to do was look at the chat. But now you're unhappy. And that's because I didn't put the context in. And the context should be the game, which I need to import. And that is declared but never used. It's not assignable to well, that's kind of doing what I want though, so maybe hush up. So if we begin the game, I don't really need anything for that. If we load, don't I have? Oh, these are states, not events. What am I doing? This, of course, this isn't going to work because that's not how I designed this at all. So it would instead be these. Right, because all of these stuff like this. So this was all incorrect anyway. You know what? We're just going to let this ride. And I will go back to that someday and fix it for real. In the meantime, we can do some of these. And what else we got in here? We got begin game. That's not the one. Ready to begin. Right, so these all I want to be out here. And if that's the case, then what we're going to do is we're just going to return this placeholder screen again. Because, again, where that puts us into the... where's my machine? Like, that's what I want to show, is just kind of like a holder, right? So, yeah, okay. I'm going to take a quick break to just use the restroom, and that's actually, I got plenty of water. So I'm going to use the restroom. I'll be back in just a couple of minutes, and we'll keep cracking on this. Okay. Well, what's up, Finite Singularity? Didn't even see you come in. Listen. And thank you for the raid too. So part of the challenge that I have with the oh, thank you for all actually posting that you were raiding. I was deep in the code, didn't even see this. I'm using StreamYard, which is specifically me trying to not have too many buttons because I love customizing OBS. And if I have OBS, I just putz with it and I never do the other projects that I want to do. So it was kind of like a forcing function to get me to just focus on streaming and not like tweaking the streaming. But I, definitely now I don't get some of the notifications from Twitch, which is a bummer. You embraced it by writing plugins. I know, right? Like you're killing it with those. I keep seeing such cool stuff coming out of your corner over there. I'm considering trying to make the live stream. I got my camera pointed a little bit weird. I'm like half cut off today. Yeah, I've been considering coming back to OBS and trying to do a little bit more fun with it because I've got such cool stuff in this studio that I could use and we could hook it up to some real-time events and like make for some like real chaos. I just haven't had time to build it, and I don't know. Maybe we'll see. Could be that this is the year that I finally get enough of my other stuff in order that I can mess around with other things. The wind tunnel effect. I don't know what that means. Okay, let's see what we can do here. So we're so what I want is we got in this particular case we are showing the what am I doing? I'm rambling. Okay. So here's what's happening right now. If we don't have a snapshot yet, we show the logo. If we have a snapshot, and that snapshot is one of the ones where we're doing off-camera stuff or off-screen stuff, like Mark and I are bantering, or we're talking to contestants, or we're spinning the wheel, or whatever it is. We don't necessarily want to show anything on the screen, like because that would be distracting. So what we're going to do is have the screen show this logo, except when we're in key points where we need the screen to participate, which would effectively be showing what category was chosen and showing the current question. So let's, is there a distant, there's probably a distant fan sound in the background, to be completely honest. Let's see if I bring my mic a little bit closer, if that makes any difference whatsoever. I've also kind of just like, I have all this expensive audio gear, and this is a Shure SM7B, which is a mic that's meant to be like up on your mouth, right? Like this is where it should be. But I don't like having it right in my face, so I've just pushed it like a solid 1.5 feet off, which is definitely not where it's supposed to be. But yeah, I would be willing to bet that my sound just got significantly better because I'm using this mic as intended now. Okay. I would take you up on this. This would be super fun. Well, we can definitely think about it and see if there's a fun way to do that, because I have so many silly ideas, and like I don't have it turned on right now, or I would go show you, but I'm getting a digital ticker board installed in the. Actually, you know what? It's dark in here, but you want to see? Let's do a quick detour. Let me change over my camera to this one. Right? Okay. And then let me change over my mic to...
Oh, you know why else it sounds like crap? I've been using my MacBook mic this whole stream so far. So, okay. Anyways, now what we should be using is the phone. And so I can't see super well, but I'm going to do my best to do a little studio tour here. Can I just turn this sideways and then that gets better? Yes, okay. So check this out. This is, like this. It's doing like a zoom to help thing, and I don't like it at all. So this is where we film Web Dev Challenge, and up here you'll notice there's this ticker thing happening, and so let me plug this in real quick. Okay, I'm trying to come back here so I can kind of see what I'm showing you. So this is the ticker, and then I have the ability to kind of like swap things in and out on that ticker. And then we're also working right now on the next, can't see crap, let me turn on my lights. Impromptu studio tour in here. So what we're doing right now is get this light on. Now we should be able to see, and I don't know how much it's trying to help by like pointing at nothing, but this is the Web Dev Challenge set. You can see we've got some construction underway in here. Like this wall is going to be that's going to have like a kind of a logo light effect thing on it. These big flats up here are actually going to get turned into a backdrop that will live over here. But then you can see we're working on the set for Leet Heat right now. And so it's got all that kind of stuff. And then there's my little kitchenette and my pile of garbage over in that corner. And then this is where I stream, and you can see what's happening. It is absurd. Like, okay, I need everybody to understand that for whatever reason, when I point the camera straight forward, it is pointing up at the ceiling. I am now pointed at like a 45-degree angle downward to get a straight ahead shot. So I don't know if y'all just got a tour of my ceiling or not. So this is my touring set, or my streaming setup, right? You can kind of see like that's my desk. This is the camera that I stream on usually, and then you can see my pile of garbage back here. That's a couch. If anybody in Portland wants a couch, I don't know where to put it. And then that's kind of my like rack of different stuff. You can see the big light that I use, and then I've got all of these other bits back here that are kind of how this is like the stuff that we rack around. And then let's see, did anybody actually see the set for Leet Heat when I was showing it? Anyways, this is, it'd be great to figure out how to make this thing actually function, but let's just make that suck less. Okay, so back to this camera. And then let's use the good mic. Okay. Mic should have just gotten a lot better. This is absolutely a squirrel stream. Oh, good. I'm using React. Why not Angular? What a great question. The short answer is I have more experience with React than Angular, so I'm faster with it. How much does all my stuff help? Yeah, I would say they're pretty intense diminishing returns beyond a good microphone, to be completely honest, because like the camera quality on an iPhone these days, or like a good and like a high-end Android device, is pretty dang good.
Like, if you're not doing professional video, it doesn't make sense to buy a different camera unless you're into it. Like, if it's fun, hell yeah, have fun. It's a good time. But like, you can just throw your iPhone up on a tripod and get great video out of it. And in fact, a lot of the videos that I publish that are a little more casual is me doing exactly that. If you see a video of me in my dining room or my kitchen, it's almost certainly on an iPhone, just because it's not like it's a pain to bring all this gear around. Now, that being said, there are things that get really, really hard when you start doing anything beyond a single camera. For example, if you want 2 cameras and you want to edit that footage together, then if the cameras aren't good quality, then like matching colors and stuff is really, really hard. So it can make the footage look kind of goofy. If you have lots of cameras, like for example, we shoot Leet Heat with 5 cameras and 7 microphones and all sorts of stuff, right? And to use that footage, we need time code, and to use time code, you need a camera that's high enough end to support it, and you need to shoot in like different color spaces so you can do actual color correction later on. All that stuff is but that's because that's like my job now, right? When I was just streaming on this is a Sony FX3 that I stream into most of the time. If I didn't use this for anything else, I think this would have been one of the most overpriced purchases I've ever made, just because you don't need this for just streaming. It's a video camera, like it's intended to be used for video. And so if you're using it as a webcam, it is a really, really, really good webcam, but I don't know that it's discernibly different from a lot of other much cheaper cameras in that space. Yeah, right. So this is the joy of a studio, is that you can just you can change the angle, change what's hanging on the walls and all that stuff, and you get completely different spaces. And so that was definitely a big incentive for me in getting this space. Is it's a 2,000 square foot almost box, and the emptiness of that space, not having any big interior walls and that sort of thing, means that I can reconfigure the space as needed and kind of turn it into whatever I want. So right now we are dragging in a bunch of stuff for the game show specifically, and kind of getting the space set up to look like Leet Heat. And then a couple weeks after that, we're going to haul all that Leet Heat stuff somewhere else, and we're going to start getting set up for season 2 of Web Dev Challenge, which that's going to be a whole. I'm so excited to show y'all what we got, like what we've built for that. It's so cool. The best camera is the one you have with you is 100% yes. I think like there was this there was a tough patch for me when I first did this full time, where I was feeling a lot of like imposter syndrome about being a full-time content creator. And I felt like if I wasn't doing everything at the highest quality level, then I wasn't justifying myself as a professional. And what I ran into was that it made it really, really hard for me to just make stuff. Like I wasn't shipping things, and I would sit on projects for months because I'd do these kind of big cinematic things that I had in my head, where I was like, oh, I need all these different shots, and I'm going to try to set up a dolly, and I'm going to make this work and that work. And all of that is interesting, but it was preventing me from actually doing the work, like the thing that I wanted to do. And that was one of the reasons that I did that Do It Anyways series, which is how do I even find this one? It is, did I put them all up here? I don't know if I actually put these videos up here. I did. Okay, good. So if you want to watch these, they live over here. Someday I'll get this site finished. It's like in the stack of emergencies, this is like a medium emergency, so it keeps getting deprioritized. And then, let's see. So these I shot some of them on like the FX3, and I just have a little lightweight tripod that is, you know, I can put it on a tabletop. I can, you know, I can make it almost my height. I think it gets to be like 5'6" or something. But so, you know, I some of them I did with the FX3 and the tripod. Some of them I did with just an iPhone, and I don't know that you would notice the difference between the ones that I did on an iPhone or not, unless you're, you know, looking for it. And, you know, I did stuff that I had always kind of considered was not that I was too good for, right? Like in this one, I just threw the mic on the ground and then laid down next to the mic instead of like getting myself properly mic'd up and getting a good setting. I was like, yeah, this is fine. And this one, I clipped the mic to a banana because I, you know, again, was just kind of having fun with it. And each of these things was like, I made these in a day. The idea was I had to make one video every day, and I did it for 2 weeks. Did I do it for 3 weeks? No, I think I did it for like 2 weeks of business days was the idea. Like I took weekends off, but I made these videos for like, you know, I did 12 episodes. And it was a good exercise for me to just get past my hangups around like it has to be perfect, it has to be well planned, and has to have whatever thing I thought it needed to have. It just needed to exist, and that was really. So, anyways, going back to what Alan said about like the best camera is the one you have. I think that it's exactly that, but not because it's like you can make any camera look beautiful, but more that what actually matters is that you made something. And people are paying less attention to the super quality specifics than we expect. And really, like, unless you're watching something with like a technical eye, you're usually not noticing if the color is super rich, or unless that's like part of the narrative, right? You're usually watching a story, and if the story is good, you kind of don't care if it looks like shit. Like Darren Aronofsky made a bunch of movies that were shot on like grainy black and white, and they were great. You know, Kevin Smith's first movie, Clerks, he shot in black and white. The quality of that movie is kind of like technically garbage. You know, it's shot on cheap stuff. He shot it on almost no budget. He shot it without professional actors. The audio on it's super weird. Like there's so many weird issues with Clerks, and it's still like, it was one of my favorite movies growing up. I watched it so many times that I haven't watched it in quite a while now, so I don't know how it's aged. I think it's fine. But you know, it's like one of those things, like you just got to make stuff, you know. When I deploy a website for a small business, what would I generally use? I use Netlify. I used to work there. I know it well. I think it's really good. You know, you can use whatever you want. I think like it also depends on what the stack is, but like if it's a kind of a standard JavaScript framework, uses, you know, has its own functions or something, like an Astro or a Gatsby or a Nuxt or one of those, they all deploy really well on Netlify. The other options, like, you know, AWS Amplify is pretty good. Cloudflare is pretty good. The only one I don't recommend is Vercel, and that's not really because of the tech. That's just because I don't care for their leadership. Way too many microphones for the music I never record. Yeah, I have a music room that everything is just unplugged. Lighting is super important. Absolutely. I think I would go lighting before camera if I had to stack rank budget. Process of learning Angular. A lot of people recommend React. Starting to feel like I made a bad choice by learning Angular first. Should I continue? So the thing about Angular is that Angular is extremely popular, and it is heavily used in like enterprise settings. So should you continue, I think that question is dependent on what you want out of your career. Like, what type of work do you want? If you want a like steady work working on enterprise kind of apps, and you know the goal is to be steadily employed, Angular is great. If your goal is to work at startups and to get into the more like kind of exciting, high flying tech world that you read about on social media, then something like React or Svelte or one of the others is probably going to be more popular in those types of startups. But really, like, if you learn Angular, you're learning a lot of the fundamentals that will make learning other frameworks work. Just, pay attention to how things work and not just copy pasting an Angular command to make it do a thing. But yeah, Angular is good, and Angular is a good source of employment. It is not I guess it's sort of like, if you think about frameworks as like shoes, then something like React would be, the Nikes or the Air Jordans. It's the thing that, it's fashionable. People will comment on it if you use it. They like it. They're talking about it. Angular would be like a pair of work boots. It's not gonna necessarily get the comments and the notice, but it definitely gets the job done. And it is, if you actually start looking around at like who's wearing what, a lot of the people who are working are probably wearing work boots. That being said, like React is starting to reach that point where it's getting into the like some of the legacy businesses as well. So there's a lot of like enterprisey work for React as well. I don't necessarily think there's a wrong answer to that question. I think that what I would encourage you to do is keep learning and not think that you're only going to learn Angular in your career. You'll learn Angular and you'll learn hopefully the underlying JavaScript, and then that will lead to learning Vue and React and Svelte and other things, because ultimately they kind of all start to feel the same after a certain level of experience, and that's a good thing. That means that you're getting the skill where the framework itself isn't like, that's not the thing that allows you to build. What allows you to build is your understanding of what somebody has asked for and how to get computers to do that. I feel like that was a bit of a roundabout answer, and I apologize, but short answer is Angular is great. Use Angular if you want to use Angular. You're not going to be sad if you become an Angular expert. What's up, Lancelot? When I'm hosting Web Dev Challenge, do I have contestants use Angular? I have had a couple people build with Angular. I've had people from the Angular team on Learn with Jason as well. So if you want to see some of that, you can go to the Learn with Jason site and search for Angular. There's a lot of content there. Speaking of the Web Dev Challenge stuff, you notice I have BenQ monitors. I've been looking at getting one. I really like them. So let me first and foremost caveat: I am sponsored by BenQ. They contribute a lot of monitors, which I really appreciate. They actually on Leet Heat, there's like a giant screen. That's also a BenQ monitor. It's like a teaching tool. It's got touch screen and it's really cool. But I really do like the BenQ stuff. If they didn't sponsor me, I would still use it because I love the aspect ratio. It's what is it? It's 3:2, I think it is. So it's not quite square, but it kind of feels square, which was something I really wanted in my monitor, because I was starting to do the vertical monitors where I was like flipping them sideways because I wanted just more up and down real estate. But then that felt too restrained. Like, it felt like my windows were always kind of like smashed too narrow. So what I like about this is that it isn't, a 16:9 monitor. It feels square, right? Like it's square-ish. And that square-ishness means that I can actually 4-up. Like if I'm doing research, I can have the Google page that I'm using to like research things, and the article that I'm reading that's got some reference, and then I can have the code, and then I can have the app that I'm work in progress all up on one screen, and it doesn't feel like too crowded. They're great. I do definitely recommend those. If you want the one that I actually use, I have a page here, the uses page that links to the actual model. Let's see. Is there a mod around for the... We got somebody spamming. Let's see, just going through... I think just doing it as simply as possible is like, it's so good. Doing the web dev challenge remote. I don't know, because the thing that was really, really hard was when it was remote, it put so much on the participants to like film themselves and get the quality right, and there was so many things that were hard for them that I can do for them on web dev challenge. So I think my preference would be to continually get more partners and more budget. And the plan is, once I get this new version of the site up, there will be a way to support. A few of you are already supporting through that, which I really, really appreciate. And that monthly support plus the additional sponsorship and anything else that I get will allow me to start flying in people internationally, because that's the big barrier, is like, for somebody to come in internationally, like if somebody comes from Denver, it's call it a $500 flight, and it's 2 nights in a hotel, because they come in the night before, we film all day, they stay that night, and then they fly out the next morning. If somebody comes from London or somebody comes from Asia, it's like the flight is $1,600, and we need them to stay for probably 5 days, because they need a few days to get through the jet lag, so that they're not like completely destroyed when they try to do the show. And so that, adds another like 3 or 4 nights, and the hotel nights are anywhere from like $200 to $400. So it really quickly adds a lot to the cost of a production. However, it's very important to me to figure out how to solve that problem. And so that's something I'm exploring in season 2. And if I can't figure it out in season 2, I'm going to try to get it for sure in season 3. So yeah, it's coming. And if I can't figure it out, then I do think figuring out a way to do the remote less labor intensive, perhaps, would be really good. Yeah, Express is great. I think like Express is one of those things where it comes with a lot of history, and so that means that it's stable. It also means that there are some decisions that will feel like they were made 15 years ago, because they were. There are some really good alternatives as well. Like, for example, people like Hono. People really like Fastify. When I have used Fastify, it didn't feel different from Express in any like understanding ways, but it felt really nice to use from it feels modern, and like I really enjoy it. Good projects to get hired. Just build stuff you're interested in. If I can see that somebody's interested in something, they are definitely going to catch my attention more than somebody who just cranked out stuff that they thought was important. Let's see. Squirrel, yeah, we're definitely squirreled. And just in case you were asking this in earnest, best IDE in the AI era is like, it's fine. Like they're all good. There's good stuff in code. There's good stuff in people really like Cursor. There's another one called Sail, or I don't know, something like that. Let's see. Zach, what's up? Thank you. I appreciate that. Fancy zones? What is fancy zones? Is that like a layout thing? Oh, it's Windows. Okay, so that's not for me, but that sounds cool. Let's see here.
proctors and hosts. See that, and that could potentially work, but it does turn into it kind of like it moves the cost in different ways, and so that would be a whole other thing. Yeah, windsurf, that was the one I was thinking of that people are really excited about. What are my thoughts on AI replacing web developers? I don't think it's going to happen. I think that it'll be similar to, I don't know. Like, I feel like there have been a lot of cases where we've said that a thing is going to replace web developers. Like what you see is what you get. Editors like Squarespace and what's the other one? There's a Wix and stuff like that. They're good, and you can build a great website on them, and they have their place and their purpose. But we didn't really see dev jobs go away, right? Like it shifts. You know, I think when I was younger, and I don't know how much of this is still out there now, but like when I was younger, there was a lot of business for like a freelancer to build websites for a local business, and I could make $3 to 10 grand on a project like that. I don't know if that job still exists, but there's still plenty of work for developers. So I think it will change the landscape, and like what jobs are available might be different, but it's not going to like eliminate the category, if that makes sense. So let's get back to this state machine and see how far we can get. We got about an hour, and I would love to get this to the point where I feel comfortable. Like if we can get this to the point where I can run this game show, I'm gonna be so happy. So so let's, you know what? Let's start with the easier one, and instead of doing is it this? No, that's not it. It's contestant. So let's start with our contestant display. And the way that I want this to work is we've got our contestant left, our contestant right, and these are going to use a screen display, which is going to live in this components folder. This is the podium display, and I don't know what this is. Let's start by not stressing about that just yet. And what we're going to do instead is we're going to. So this is what shows on the screen right now. We've got the contestant's name, we've got where they're from, and we've got their current spice level. And so this is actually not going to be right. We're going to pull that out of the contestant spice level. This is going to be, I think these will be fine. But so let's grab this and see what happens. So we're going to get our left contestant, and I want to grab all of this bit about the grabbing these. And that means that I need all of this stuff. So we've got the use query, we've got the API. This is, I think, one more up if I'm... Oh boy. Let's just try that one more time. That's the convex. Then we've got our generated, then we've got our API. Okay, so we've got those. That's going to bring us our game snapshot. We'll add that import. Then we have our snapshot itself. That's going to live inside of this component. And now that I think about it, maybe this shouldn't live here. Maybe this should live in the... Oh, you know what we can do? We can just send in the index of the contestant that we want, and that will actually be fine. So if there is no snapshot, we're going to return null. We'll just leave the podium blank because there's not like a placeholder state for it. Maybe there should be, but I'm not going to stress about it too much because it should, as soon as we start the game, which will happen before we start rolling the cameras, this screen will be populated. So let's get So if we have our snapshot, then what we can get is our context from the snapshot. And that's going to have our contestant. So what I can do is get our contestant is going to be context contestants at, and then that's going to be, this is going to have to be the contestant index. Right? So then that gives us our contestant, and then we've got our name. And we can just do the same thing if there's not a contestant. Now this won't happen because the game is set up in such a way that it won't, like we won't get a snapshot. Well, actually there might be a way to get a snapshot that doesn't have a contestant in it yet. So this check will be good. And then now we've got our contestant, and that gives us the name, the so on and so forth. And so this time we're going to say incorrect length +1. And so if we come out here and we need to go to our contestant left, and we're going to import podium display, and then we need our contestant index. Left is going to be 0. And there we go. So that's doing what we want. I need to fix the styling on that. But that one's already where we're, oh wait, hold on. Let's just get the actual contestant spice level. I think that's going to be better because we have it. So why not do that? There's our contestant spice level. So then we get one of these, we begin the round, I go in, I get it wrong, and then our details update. Okay. Heck yeah. So then we can do the same thing for the right. And nope, that's going to be this. Go to the right, and instead of 1, it's going to be contestant number 2. So now if we come back out here and do one of these, whoa, what just happened? Please, what is that? Stop. There we go. Okay. Good. Okay, things are doing what we want. That's good. We can leave that as is, or I can style it up a little bit like these. I think I might, I don't know, I think I might leave them like this. I think that kind of looked, what do you think, y'all? Should I do it like this, or should I do it like we've got this style going? So should I have the podiums match that? Or should we keep this style of the dark? I feel like the dark is pretty legible, so I should probably keep that. Weigh in if you've got opinions. I think barring pretty compelling argument, I think I'm going to leave it. Okay, well, I'm really excited that we've turned this corner because I was definitely starting to sweat a little bit about getting this to work. So that makes me really happy. So let's go back to our screen. Nope, this one. Okay, so now as we kind of continue, we can see that like we've got certain spots where we've got these things going. So on this one, for example, you know what I want is I think I want this to be like a container query sort of thing. So let's look at what I did for the screen display. I think if I just put this on, it's going to solve a lot of the questions that I had. So how do I get to the actual, here's my elements. Yeah, I want you to come down though. There we go. Okay, so this isn't exactly what I want, but it's going to be good enough. I need to change out this these backgrounds and stuff. So let's do that in here. We're gonna look at, do I have some like basic details going on in here? Okay, so here's the scoreboard. Body has podium display. So did I do this on the scoreboard, host display? Body has screen display. Okay, so I need this to change. So we'll drop this out. I think just get rid of that entirely. And then we can drop that out. Does that just kind of solve that? Basically brings us back where we want to be. That's good. Hey, what's up, Annie? How you doing? For anybody who doesn't know, Annie is one of the producers on the show. She is responsible for delivering the spicy bites to people, and one of my one of my favorite moments in episode 2 is when Joel, who I don't know if he was doing it to amuse himself or specifically to troll me, but just decided to like straight face all of the sauces. And like, I admit we went too easy on people in the beginning, but after like sauce number 6, they start to kick. And Joel got all the way to the spiciest sauce, which is legit spicy. Like it is, I have the Hot Ones challenge sauces and I have the Last Dab. The spiciest sauce we used on Leet Heat episodes 1 and 2 is spicier than the Last Dab. It is a really, really spicy sauce. And it, when Joel had it the first time, he like kind of, he just like straight faces it, no reaction. And so the second time, Annie like just put extra on there. And you can see a moment in the show where Joel's like, Annie, he's like tapping off the extra. It was great. It was wonderful. But there is, if you pay attention, you can see it. It's just in the eyes where Joel realizes that he's made a huge mistake with that with that spicy pie. We're doing a panel today. Actually, it's great. We're gonna cook up a bunch of chicken nuggets and put hot sauce on them and try to get a good order of like how aggressive we should be, because after everybody didn't react to any of my spicy sauces, my instinct is to make every sauce the spiciest sauce I can find. And so we're gonna, Annie and Marissa and Joel are gonna help me order those out a little bit so that we don't have, so that I don't just like hurt everybody. But I'm kind of I was impressed by how much spice everybody could handle, because I definitely didn't expect everybody to handle it as well as they did. Even like Shang, our poor Midwesterner, like wasn't as rocked by the spices as I expected. So I went too easy on y'all. And then you did not go easy on me in the comments. You're like, you put Cholula in the... Yeah, I know, it was Cholula at number 3. Chicken nuggies are definitely the only meetings that are valid to have. Okay, can we talk about the Dino Nuggies commercial? Because do y'all know who Phil Hawksworth is? Like, this is relevant. This is important. How do I get the monitor to come through? Let's see. When I play this, are y'all hearing this? Because like I can't hear it, but can you hear it? You can't hear it. Okay. So to make this play, how do I have to monitor? You know what? It's not that important. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to tell y'all to go down here and click through to commercial break 1 and watch. I mean, watch all of them because they were really fun. But this one in particular, it's so good. Like, I used to work with Phil Hawksworth. This is Andy Jang from the Dino team, and Phil Hawksworth is the narrator with the comforting British accent. And we had the idea. I don't remember who I was talking to, but like, we were talking about doing the show. We were talking about putting the hot sauce on chicken nuggets, and then the idea was it would be funnier if they were like the dinosaur chicken nuggets. And then somebody just tossed out, what if it was like sponsored by Dino and they were Dino Nuggies? And I was like, that is genius. And so I immediately reached out to Phil because I knew Phil had started at Dino. And I was like, okay, Phil, I have a bad idea. And I pitched him on Dino Nuggies. And Phil, never to be outdone, instead of saying, you know what, let me consider that, he said, oh, I actually already have a mock-up for what a Dino Nuggies landing page would look like. Because they had already like arrived at this independently that they should make this happen. So, in fact, I think it's up now. I hope it's up now. Nuggies. Is this not incredible? This is like, I love this so much. It's like, this brings me so much joy. And I was so happy that, like, because I hit them up with not a lot of notice. It was a very like, oh, this is a good idea. We should try this. And Phil was just like, yeah, down, let's do it. So thank you to the Dino team, and y'all should go check out this. Just go check this out. Like, it's very good. It's worth a play. If you haven't used Dino yet, you should maybe dig into their docs a little bit, see what they're up to, because it's a cool tool. But yeah, give this a shot. Have some fun with it, and we'll go watch this commercial as well, because this commercial was so much dang fun. There's another commercial back here that this one brought me immense joy. If you haven't seen it yet, I'm not even going to tell you what it is, because I want you to go watch it on your own. Let's build state machines. So okay. We have our space here. I'm kind of like bring this out just a little bit, because what that should be doing is that should be clamped to fit the space that it's in. I don't know if it really is going to matter. Let's do this instead. Let's go out here, and we will say case host announcing category. Now, in that particular instance, we know that what we need is just the category name. And to get that, we're going to go context, current category. There we go. And I want that to be in, oh no. If I want this to be, I feel like I need this part to go live in its own thing. Because I need like a screen wrapper, basically. So this is going to be, we'll just, yeah, whatever. We'll call that displayed data, and that's going to take the value in context, and that's going to then Oh, we don't even need that. We can just do that right up here. And so then these will just be the displayed data. And I don't want, I guess I can keep this for now while we do this, but let's get the displayed data right up on the screen here. And I'm gonna, I guess I'll put this. Crap. If I just want to show, here's what we'll do instead. Default case, we're going to return H1, and that will be the value. Okay, so then I can get rid of this footer. And now we've got our screen, which will be properly centered and doing all of the things that I want it to do. Okay, so then when we begin the round, we get to host reading questions. So when the host is reading the question, you need something? You need an extension cord? I don't know if I have an extension cord. What do you... Well, there's the one that's running between those desks. You can just unplug the one in the middle. Let's see. Smail Bestie Bay. I have everything that I use up on this page here that I'm about to put into the chat. You can go find the keyboard that I use and all of the other gear that I use in there. And software and books and all just stuff I like. So this then should give us host reading questions. So then we'll just start getting all these host reading question. And for this one, what I would like to do is get the details of, like I have a whole thing going on here for showing the question. And it's somewhere up here. Contestant answering. And yeah, there's all these details here. So, oh, look at these. Look at all these that are already set up for me. So I can just come back through here. And these, we don't need the answers, so we're going to grab that. And this is all going to be broken, but what it will do is give us the ability to quickly get these other types in here so that we catch those as we go through. And then we're going to return, and we are going to return all of this, which we're going to have to kind of refactor, but it's going to give us what I wanted. Okay, so then that works, and I can get rid of all these bits. Now we got to go back through and fix these. And the way we're going to do that is all of our state stuff just becomes context. Okay, so then those just work. We don't have a timer displayed on the front, I don't think. I think that is not being done. If we have an image, we're going to display that image. If we have the current question, we're going to do that. And we're going to leave out the part where we check if it's the answer. Good. So then why don't we go into our... I guess let's just try this real quick. So we're going to who sponsored this category. So that's what's being showed on the screen. That's good. I buzz in. I'm incorrect. And now we're eating a spicy bite. So what we should probably do here is show some kind of a spice thing. And what that should probably be is my little skull thing that I made. But what we'll do for now is we'll just stick a flame in there. So that way we know that something's happening. And then when we continue, we go back. Marissa buzzes in. She is correct. Now the category is complete. And oh, we already cleared the category. So I think maybe with that one, we'll just actually put that back to here, and we'll let the host and everybody kind of navigate that without all those sorts of things. What's up, Fuzzy? How you doing? So let's just keep rolling. Let's well, actually, I want to get into my data, and let's get our questions. And I'm gonna take one of these, and we're gonna turn this into a one of the ones that has options. So we'll say options, and then we've got A, B, C, D. What classification of food is a burrito? And we're going to say soup, salad, sandwich, or none of the above. And the answer, of course, is C. So now what we should get, I think I have to restart this. So we're going to begin. All right. So we're playing. We're going to go into search. We're going to begin the round. Who sponsored this category? We'll say that I got it right. Question complete. We're going to have to figure out what we do for that. Maybe that one also just goes back to the thing. I think there might be just a whole lot of showing the placeholder when we're not in the middle of showing a question, because I don't really want the screen to be distracting. I want the screen to be, the screen is there as like a reading aid. If you need to read the question instead of listening to Mark say it out loud, if you're a different kind of processor, or if like there's a code snippet or something, we want that to show up. So let's make this look less terrible. And the way that we're going to do that is we are going to figure out what's different in the styles. And my hunch is that I've locked the question styles into active question, multi-choices. So do I just need to call this active question then? And then close this into a div. And nothing happened. Did it reload? It is active question. And then each of these Current question ID. It's got the label. It's got a question option. Active question, question text, multi-choices. Is this all stuff that's not actually... Aha. Overview. Detail. Oh, that's not it either. What am I doing out here? Current question. Question options. Why don't we just pull this out to the top level? Because they don't need to be nested, right? And then that should fix that. And then I can come back out here and we'll just get rid of that div again because we didn't actually need it. And now we have our options. Okay. So now let's find out. What's up, Mike? I am building, let's see, where am I at right now? So I've been building a state machine to operate this game show. I have a show called Elite Heat. It is out here. I will drop a link to it. There you go. And so that's a bad link. I should use my good link. I have a new... I'm like, you know when you do something that definitely feels haphazard. I'm in the middle of some stuff, and I haven't finished it yet, but I'm like using some of it anyways, because that's how things work. And anyways, that's a link to Elite Heat. So, to make that function, I am the producer on the show. I kind of like operate all the controls in the background while we're running. And the way that I need this to work is that as I'm making changes, you can see that I can see what the correct answer is, but the contestant can't. So this is what's shown on the display. We've got a big TV that we use. And then I have my laptop that the contestants can't see. And that's how I'm able to kind of monitor, did they get the answer right, things like that. And then Mark, our host, is going to have a separate view that will be similar to this, but is going to have, it won't have the buttons. It's just going to have the display here so that Mark can see what's going on, like what category we're in, how many questions are left in the category, who's spinning, so on and so forth. So this is good, but I need to test what happens if we have much longer, because some of these questions have like really long answers or long questions or whatever. So let's just we'll just change it to say let's see, in the 2024 film Dune, what was it in? Was it 20? You know what? It doesn't matter. Dune something. What is the name of the blue stuff that the savior guy drinks that might actually be worm pee? And no one knows, but it glows, and that's cool. Let's do another one that's it's the forbidden grape juice. And then it's magic fortune telling water, but also poison. And okay, so I think we have to start over, get here, one of these, then next question, we get that, okay, and then we continue. All right, and so this is what I was worried about, is that we would end up with it kind of blowing out. So what I want to do is style this up to use a container query. And the way I'm going to do that is, here's our screen display. And we've already got it named as a container. We've got the aspect ratio. For debugging, I'm going to set this, and this is our 16 by 9, and it looks like it's already somewhat contained, which is good. So then the next thing that I want to do is our H1. Is there more under here? That's the active question. So we're not even actually using that style, which is interesting. So for our H1, what I want to do is set our font size to be clamp. And so with the clamps, you want like a minimum and a maximum, and then an ideal in the middle. And so let's see. In the end, will I show the stats? Oh, that's an interesting idea. Like right, wrong answers, and that would be kind of fun. Yeah, because we are tracking that. We would just need let's make that a stretch goal. If I can get this running, then yeah, I'd definitely like to do that. What's up, Gamer Jam? So let's take some wild guesses here, but I'm going to say that it's probably like minimum is going to be 1 rem. Ideal is going to be, let's say, 2 container query inline units plus 1 rem, and maximum is going to be 2.5 rem. Let's see what that did. That is not doing what I want at all. Did it get picked up even? No, because I'm using an H2. So you see how the text is kind of shrinking here? The other thing I'm noticing is that my aspect ratio is not being respected, and I don't like that. So why isn't it doing that? The block size. Shouldn't that be constrained? Or no. What does it need to be? Overflow hidden. Okay, so now we're actually constrained, and that shows me that we're not getting exactly what I want. So I need this to be... you know what we might need, actually? This is chaotic, but sometimes this is how I solve my problems, which is we're going to say... we'll call it like make smaller. Ugh, I don't like that at all. But we're going to take our text and take the length, and if it is over, say 60 characters, we're going to say true. Otherwise, not. And in fact, I think that means we can just do that instead, because, right? The other thing too is, why don't we say if context current question it doesn't exist, let's just return null instead of having to do all of this goofy stuff. Because then we can just do those sorts of things, and that makes my life easier. No, I checked up here if you were... See? You exist. And I know you exist. You know, I don't care that much. Good. Okay. So then we have this check to see if we need to make it smaller, and we will say class name equals and then I guess we'll say make smaller. And if it needs to be made smaller, we'll say smaller. Otherwise, we'll just add no class name to it at all. And then what I can do in here is say if it is in fact smaller, then we'll just take this and turn the whole thing down. And we'll say maybe the biggest it can be is 1.5. Maybe the biggest it can be is 1.25. That seems okay. That's a little better. And then we can do the same thing with the question options. And in fact, maybe we want to do this. Question options, right? And then I can do one of these little numbers. It would be on the actual option. And the way I'm going to do it, I guess, is like this. Because why not? Gross. What a gross thing that is that I just did, but it's okay. We're going to live with it. And then that gets smaller. What am I get off of that. I don't want to look at that. All of that should be on a different screen. Like that should be over here. Get all of this junk off of here so that I'm not accidentally scrolling to the wrong screen anymore. Okay. So now why didn't this work is a great question. Do it like this maybe. There. Now, it's okay. So those are no longer broken, which I'm happy about. And then why doesn't my VS Code show color highlights for CSS? What a fabulous question. The short answer is that at some point I broke something and like the auto detection doesn't work. So if I don't manually do the thing, it just doesn't do the thing. And I haven't been able to figure out exactly why yet. Okay, so that I think is okay because then as this shrinks down, nope, that's not it. We want to go, do we want this to even go smaller? 7.5? Is it you? Are you the problem? Why isn't this getting picked up? That should be the smallest. Ah, it's you. So there's this thing that you can do to like try to use the width Let me see if I can get this to work. It's like something like this, so that it shrinks well. And I think this might be maybe something like that. But then it doesn't get big enough, I don't think. Well, actually, that's probably over here. It shouldn't really ever need to get smaller than about this, I don't think. So that's probably fine. Give me just 1 second because this one is kind of important. Doing deliveries for set builds and stuff today. Okay, so then I want these to probably be, maybe I do want that to be just a touch bigger. Let's try 2 and see what happens. Can it get... That's okay, I think. And then let's do a similar kind of thing with the questions. Question option. Okay, so that's good. And then that means that the biggest these can get is maybe one of these. And we'll do one of these. And maybe one of those. I don't know. Maybe I'm... there was a reason that somebody told me to do this, and I'm feeling like I don't understand it. So let's instead... Let's go with 3. No. 2.5. That scales, I'm pretty happy with that scale. Like that seems okay. And actually, can I make this better if I go out to the screen and I just do like a 4 CQI? Seems a lot less chaotic. It's a little more predictable, right? So I think that's okay. I'm good with that. So okay, so I'm pretty happy there. Let's keep rolling through states and make sure that I got them all. So we've got, I'm correct. That takes us to, okay. So we already have an issue that we need to fix. And the way we're going to fix that is over here. We're going to get our screen display. And when we have an image, we're going to say, block size, and we'll say the min of 250 pixels or 50 CQB. And then the inline size is going to be auto, and the object fit is going to be contain. And display flex. Okay, now did that just break anything? SQL question goes right in the middle. I like that. Okay, get my points. We go, let's refresh actually, because I want those multiple choice to come back up. Okay. Ooh, you know what this calls for? Text wrap balance. Bam! Oh my God, I love that so much. That is, can I just tell you the joy that I feel in my heart with the introduction of that CSS declaration? Just, gorgeous. These are test questions. Although it would be pretty dang funny to ask y'all about the classifications of burritos. So let's see. Then we get, so that works right. I'm happy with that. Can do the score thing. Good. Got our longer ones. Those look right. And then it brings us into, that's what it looks like without. Okay. So then the other thing I need is I need like an image for some font stuff. So let's take an image from a previous episode. So here's episode 1. And here's one of the questions. So let's take this one. That's a pretty good, like, common size. And we're going to go back into our questions. And let's add a question that has an image. That's going to have an image that looks like that. And then it's going to have options, and we'll just do okay. Then when we come back out here, we'll refresh the page, begin the game. We're going to go into search. Okay. So we need a couple of things. I think we need the so we need the heading to probably get a little bit smaller, and also to shrink that code just a tiny bit. So let's get back into our style. And we're going to say has image and then target the H. Or I guess we can do a little bit more with that. So we'll do the H2. And we'll say margin is 0. Okay, that already helps. And then probably we want the font size to go down on all of these. And then we also want our image itself is going to be aspect ratio of, let's go 16 by maybe 7 and see how that feels. And we will say object fit contain and block size is going to be, let's try 35 container query block units, and inline size is going to be auto. And what does that give us? So we're going to make this why aren't you respecting the container itself? I'm doing something wrong. And the thing I'm doing wrong is what? Container query block, which should be, or I guess, no, that makes sense because as the, see, but that doesn't make sense. Do I need the screen display to have a container screen inline size? Oh, you're supposed to help me. Inline and block dimensions. Okay, so I want, that's what I did wrong, is I made it just the inline size. Okay, so that's better. It's like consistent. It's not really legible though, is it? So that's a good reason to make it bigger. So we'll jump in here. We're going to get this. And maybe we go, why can't I, hello? What on earth? Why can't I? Weird. That was weird. So when it's bigger like this, I like this this size. It's the other constraint would be using a better, like something like this that's a little more. Let's see. Maybe I can just copy some of my own code in here, and we'll. Okay, so that's some CSS, right? That doesn't, and because what's going on is, if you look at here, it's not just the image itself. There's all this transparent space around it where these shadows are. So I'm just going to do something a little different where we pull in just pull in an image that's exported that's a little more like intended for the show. And I'll just drop it out here. And let's use that instead. So we'll go back to questions. That's the wrong one. Questions. Drop in the new one and come back out here. And it's going to, I think, require me to, yeah, it's going to require me to restart this round. Okay, so this will be a little more. That's a little more legible. Kind of makes me want to switch to a light mode. But no, I think this is okay. And then we can probably bump the size up just a tad here. Let's do back to our style sheet. Boy, that's the wrong window. Style sheet. Nope, it was global. And we'll make this. Did I already do this? I already did this. What if we just turn this off? What happens? That's not bad. Maybe we can go a bit taller. Maybe the max is like 300. Is this even respecting that? Okay, so that's the 50. So right now that's 50% or whatever. I think that's okay. I think I'm going to live with that. Because yeah, I'll have to like run through the questions once I have the real questions loaded in and kind of play and see where we're at, but let's this I think is fine. So reload that one more time just to make sure it's doing what I want. I probably want a bit more of a gap here, maybe. And I think that's fine. So let's turn off the overflow. So now we at least don't lose the whole thing. So let's keep rolling and see what we're missing here. So we get through these, the end of the category. Go to the questions themselves and let's get rid of and do I need a, yeah, I need a 2. Okay. So now if I run through this, we should be able to kind of hit this pretty fast. Let's go through. Okay. Good. Just kind of burning through the categories here to get to the end of the round. Last one. Now we're in round 2. Okay, so we get to round 2 and we land on Leet Heat. We need this one. I think this one probably on the screen just also shows, I don't think it shows anything special yet. Maybe we mess with that later, but for now, I think it's fine. So when you hit Leet Heat, good. We choose here. Now we're in the CSS category. We begin the round. And now we're at the end of the game. So this part I haven't really thought through at all. Like I know what I'm doing, but I don't know how the game part works. And honestly, it might not need to work. Like it might just be that we just show the final category, and then I can, I have the ability to like override scores. So I can do things like, oh yeah, he got his answer right. And so now the score is 1,500, that kind of thing, which I didn't have for episodes 1 and 2, which is why there was definitely a spot in episode 1, if you were paying attention, where I gave points to the wrong contestant, and I didn't have a way to fix it. So we just kind of let that ride. But I think this is it. I think I'm about as far as I'm going to get on this. So why don't we, what is that? Contains extra field snapshot that is, oh, do you think that's what's wrong? Sync snapshot. You know what I can also do, though, now that I have this going, is I think I can just get rid of these two and go straight to spinning wheel. Because that's going to begin the game. And these two are just doing something that's already being handled. No, that's not right. It needs to load game context. And then that one goes to spinning wheel, because we still need to get the game context. So we can skip this save. Good. I love this stuff. I love it when stuff like this works. Like, there's so much going on here, and it's all simple in isolation, but when you start moving all the pieces at once, and it's, like I have to make sure that the scores are right. I have to make sure that we know what the question is, that we know what the options are, that we're able to read the answers, that we're keeping track of, like, how many questions are left in the category. All this stuff is just, it's very useful, right? Like, we need to know it. And so each of those things it's simple to track in isolation, but when you start doing all of it, it gets very like headbendy. And then when you start knowing that you need to show that across multiple screens, and that those screens all need to stay synchronized, and that you have to somehow do that in a way that doesn't like completely blow up this synchronous thing that you were doing. Seeing this all works feels really good. So I still need to build the host view, which is going to be more or less a copy of this without the buttons. But then I think we're ready to go for the show. I just need to load in the real questions, and that is going to be a whole other, like, it's fine. I know how to do it. But cool. All right, this is good. This is going to be great. So I'm pumped. I'm excited. I think we're at a good stopping point. So I don't think that solved that issue, which could very well be what's going on with my contains extra field snapshot. I don't know what it's doing, but I'm not going to stress about it because it works. And it's always load game context. So something is going on there that I should look at, but this is fine. It's fine for now. So I'm going to add everything. We're going to just double check that that's all. Oh, no, that's not right. We need to get reset. And then I ended up not using Studio, so I'm going to remove Sanity. And then what else? I think otherwise are ready to rock. So let's look at what's in here. We've got our convex stuff. We removed the party kit thing because convex is filling that role for us. We have the podium display. We've got all of these categories. Ooh, I don't want those to go up. In fact, let's get reset source data categories. And then I don't care if that game copy is up if people want to look at it. That's not in use right now. These ones can be up. Okay. So we'll git commit that. It's too long, but I don't care. I'm going to push that, git push. And now if we go out to this page, we should have, yeah. It's not super clean. There's definitely some issues, but if you want to go take a peek at how this state machine works for real, there's the code for it. You can go find it here. When will there be a home version of Leet Heat by Milton Bradley? I don't. That would be neat. I'm not doing it. I don't think I have it in me to design like a actual board game, like something that people would have to be. If I'm not here to run it right now, I think it falls apart. And I just don't know that. I don't know that I have what it takes to build something that's like fully autonomous without some kind of a supervisor. 'Cause it's hard. I don't want to do it. Anyways, this week there is no Learn with Jason stream because we're recording more episodes of Elite Heat. If you are going to be on the show, I know a couple people who are coming out showed up, so excited to see y'all. If you're in the Portland area, we might organize some like get-togethers with folks as they're in. It's really going to depend on the production schedule, so probably keep an eye on like Blue Sky and probably Blue Sky for any notifications about whether or not that's happening. The Discord would be another good one. But you know, like this channel, or subscribe to the channel, like this video, share it with your friends, leave a comment, all the stuff that signals to YouTube that you are enjoying what you're watching. And please do go tell people about Leet Heat. Share it around, drop it in your work chats, drop it in, you know, show your bosses, show your friends, because people should see it. I think it's fun, and I hope that more people watch it. Again, hit the like button, leave comments. That all that stuff is strong signal to the algorithm that it's that you're enjoying what you're watching and that you want more of it. And that's strong signal to me that I should keep making it. Thanks, y'all. We'll see you next time.